right, here we go. Sucio Talk episode 2 after service. What up, Dave? What up, Josue? What up, Fred Taylor? Sucio Talk live coming at you Monday night. We're over here in the studio, Oakland. What up, everybody? We got people joining us from all over the place. Chef Dave Witt is up right now, 1 a.m. on the East Coast. So shout out to Chef Dave. He's going to party. Regatos, ¿qué pasa? ¿Qué pasa, papi? ¿Cómo está? Out of Meriden, Connecticut, we got my boy Manny. What up? What's up? What up, Camille? How you doing? We got JF Kita. Chef Dave, I know you're up late, bro. You got kids and shit, man. You sure it's okay that you're watching Sucio Talk or what? You know? Yeah, that's right. Connecticut in the house. You know what I mean? Manny and me used to go to high school together. H.C. Wilcox. And he'll vouch. I was a chef. I was in a what is it called? Vocational school, right? And you go into high school. That's when you're not good enough for regular high school, right? You got to go to vocational high school. They're like, it's a Louis C.K. joke. He's like, you can't do anything in the world, but you can do these 13 things, right? What's up, O'Hara? How you doing? Lapayam, what's up? Not sure. I don't think I've seen your Instagram before, but I'll wave to you. There you go. One of those. So you can see this on Sucio Talk on YouTube. Let me interrupt myself for a second. And Facebook as well. That's under my name. So anyway, me and Manny used to go to H.C. Wilcox, which is a vocational school. So you have 13. That's right. I was the best in the kitchen. You damn right. 13 different shops. There was fucking carpentry, being an electrician, automotive, fucking industrial electronics, health, hairdressing, all types of shit. And I forget what Manny did. Manny, what did you do at H.C. Wilcox Vocational School in Meriden, Connecticut? Where I went, right? Where I basically, the seeds to me becoming a chef, right? A real chef in a restaurant came from this place because I walked machine tech. That's right. Mr. Let me see, Robledo. Let's see if I get that right. Mr. Robledo. Taquero Eddie, what's up, dude? So I'm just telling the story right now of me being in high school, reaching my education as a chef, basically. Because I got there, I didn't know what the fuck I was going to do. You know, I was like, I'm definitely going to fail right now. What up, Chef Mo? How you doing? So where was I? So I'm in high school. You go and you try these 13 shops. I ended up being the best at carpentry, culinary, and industrial electronics, right? So Robles, that was his name. So industrial electronics was dope. I really liked it. You made motherboards. So basically these little things. And what they did was they gave you a kit and you would put it together. You would solder it together, these little tiny pieces. And then you would basically make these like little lights turn on or whatever. And that would mean that you did it the right way. Yeah, that's right. Johnson & Wales. And then basically I did 4 years of culinary, ended up being the best in the culinary shop. Shout out to my best friend, Sergio De Leon. Maybe Manny can help me with this. We got to find Sergio De Leon. All right. He lives somewhere in Florida and the motherfucker won't pick up the phone. So holler if you heard something about him. So yeah, went to 4 years of high school. Well, didn't everybody go to 4 years of high school? And then from there, I went to Johnson & Wales. Johnson & Wales, obviously, culinary school. Did I learn how to cook there? Not really. I learned more in high school, I think, about the actual, doing the cooking than I did in college. I guess that's not taking anything away from college, but basically it's like I found out it was the same as a high school education of 4 years of cooking. And it was funny because in high school, my final was frying chicken, boiling an egg, right? What else was it? It was just like simple things. Sauteing spinach. Yeah, that was actually a final test that I had. Shout out to the new people coming in. So anyway, I'm not even here to talk about high school. I'm here to talk about, I'm not sure if you guys saw, but shit came out about NOMA closing, right? So this man today got absolutely roasted by everyone. But at the same time, I will say he Elon Musked everyone today with that shit. He straight up says he's going to close NOMA in a year, right? Says fine dining is unsustainable, right? This is what everybody's talking about, all the outlets. New York Times put out the article, and shame on them. I'll tell you why later. But it's all a marketing scheme. All these moves that these publications make these days are not true journalism. They're falling from the truth. And look, man, I'm talking from a place of a guy that just kind of tried to figure out this journalism thing. I'm not a journalist. I don't take anything away from anybody who's gone to school for being a journalist, right? But I will say I've been doing this thing for 2 years, and it's kind of like being a journalist. I took a damn road trip across the country, right? So I got a little bit furious there. I didn't mean to. And I kind of lost my place in the story. If somebody can please comment what the fuck I was just talking about. I'm sorry, I hit the pipe a little bit before this, just to calm down, and then I'm like, they gave me some sativa, I think. So I'm under the influence right now. I'm didn't mean to get this stoned, but we're gonna plow through here. We're talking about NOMA, Rene Redzepi. It's Sucio Talk, baby. What you gonna do? So they put out this article. I did not read the whole article because I do not subscribe to the New York Times, right? As I was saying, all these media outlets are being outshined by podcasts, right? That's why Sucio Talk is going to be on top. You guys are going to see witness right here, all right? So, bien Sucio, that's right. So this article comes out. I only read a little bit of it, but basically it's Rene Redzepi saying that fine dining is not sustainable. We all knew this shit. We all knew that fine dining was not sustainable. Obviously, if you're in it, you know. I think that's why a Thomas Keller, right, has the French Laundry. And after a while, you realize that doesn't make any money. So what are you going to do? You're a chef. You open restaurants. All right, cool. We're going to open Bouchon, right? That's the moneymaker right there. Bouchon, Ad Hoc, those are the restaurants that are making the money for the TKRG group, right? They definitely make money at the fucking French Laundry. It's the fucking French Laundry. Of course they make money, but I will betting to say that in the first, late 90s, early 2000s of the French Laundry, I guarantee you they were struggling. You can't, I mean, I guarantee, things cost less back in the day, but inflation, right? So I guess, the cost and the money moves along at the same pace, right? But it's definitely hard to make money in a restaurant, right? This dude comes out. He's had the number one restaurant. Yeah, exactly. He has had Chef O'Hara, who used to work at the French Laundry. All right, sous chef right here. Let me know if I'm wrong, B. All right? So the motherfucker is on this platform, right? New York Times. You figure out it's a marketing scheme because basically he's just getting the world talking about his move to shut down the restaurant in a year. This restaurant has been number one restaurant for like 15 years running. I mean, I saw a few O'Hara, and he's vouching for me right now. And what I said was that Bouchon and Ad Hoc and all those other restaurants, Bouchon Bakery, that is what makes the money for the French Laundry, okay? So going back to fine dining doesn't make any money, okay? Fine dining doesn't make any money. So you have to have other restaurants within your restaurant group to fund that. So shout out to all of the restaurants that are single and fine dining restaurants. I'm talking about charging upwards of $200 per tasting menu, right? So these places will charge all this money, and, you know, insider tidbit, the menu has to be priced over a certain amount for you to get 3 stars. Okay? So that right there is when they say, oh, you know, you're pricing out certain people, right? And who do those people tend to be? Black and brown, right? So that's why fine dining historically has been, you know, only white country club kind of golf people. Tell you a story. I was in Greenville, North Carolina. I was doing a podcast with my boy Nathan Kryler, who's a huge fan of the show, huge supporter. So I'm at this club dinner. I'm sitting down, and, you know, I just went to like fucking JCPenney and bought a shirt. So bought a shirt, go to dinner, and halfway through, one of the dudes makes kind of like a comment about me not wearing the right clothes to the event. You know what I mean? In a snarky way, kind of like a jab at me, like, oh, next time we'll make sure there's a dress code. You know what I mean? And this is all uppity-ass white people in a club, you know, that's been open since fucking 1912 or before that, probably the 1800s. I forget what I won't say the name because I don't want to make it seem like it's that kind of place. I just had that experience when I was there. And Nathan's the man. Tyler Harper, what's up? SJG, what up? So again, going live on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook, 10 p.m. Mondays. Join me, okay? So we're talking about NOMA, Rene Redzepi. We've been talking about his fucking ass all day. And you know what? He won. This man won the game today. He Elon Musk everyone. What does Elon Musk do? He makes sure that he's in the headlines constantly. He makes sure that he's calling journalists at 3 a.m. every day, making sure that he's in the headlines, no matter what it is, negative, positive. And that's what this dude, Rene, did. In a time where all big white men are hated, this man comes out and says fine dining is unsustainable because now, after the entire history of NOMA not paying their stages, which, look, I've never been to NOMA. I've never eaten there. I've never worked there. I've talked to people who worked there, but I never really got the lay of the land. You know what I mean? I don't know what station is where, you know. You can only look at the book so much, but unless you're in the space or, you know, you talk to a cook directly about it, like, okay, what was the station like? Was, you know, did it have an oyster ice cream station? I don't know. So, lost my train of thought. But anyways, NOMA, this dude comes out, drops the article. Everyone is fucking crazy about it. He wins. He wins today, right? Because he got me talking about it. He's got every single outlet, Eater. I mean, people were turning around fucking response articles within the hour. Within the hour. Exactly. That's he Bruce Wayne that shit. So what do I think of this? You know, I think that at the end of the day, this man pushed the envelope of what is cuisine to new heights that we've all seen. We've read the books. We've watched the documentaries. We are constantly chasing after what they're doing. Now we buy their soy sauce, their garums, all their ferments, their misos, right? All that shit. I'm a Shared Cultures guy myself, so check them out. Shared Cultures SF. I just did a podcast with them 2 podcasts ago, or the last podcast with a guest that I did. Check her out, Elena Sue. Shout out to them. They just went foraging. I saw they did like a foraging thing where you can go in the forest and get mushrooms with them. It's like a paid experience kind of thing. I would suggest that you guys do that shit. I think I need to push the episode. Jesus Christ, you're going crazy over there. Um, so Rene Redzepi pushes the envelope of food, right? He makes people think differently about it. He also employs a new style, not so new style, right? People always had stages historically. And this actually is interesting. I think we should do a deep dive into stagiaires, the history of them, when they started, right? I would say a stagiaire is a short apprenticeship, right? Back in the day, you had apprenticeships. You hung out with chefs forever. 3-4 years, you learned their ways, and then you moved on. And that was kind of like before culinary school was a thing. That's what you did. So now you're staging, and you got like fucking 30 motherfuckers in there. You house them all, and all they're doing all day is one fucking thing. Maybe picking some leaves, cleaning reindeer penises for 4 hours. This is just some of the fucking headlines that I saw. Okay. Tyler Harper is saying, I scared the shit out of him on his first stage and he loved it. You goddamn right. That's what's cool about 3-star restaurants. There's a certain type of intensity. And that's what I'm here to say. It's like Rene, he is living within a world that already existed. Michelin existed before him. Is he God's gift to man? No, not in any way, shape, or form. There is more highly influential chefs than him. All right, fight me on that. I'm telling you right now. Rene Redzepi. I'm just looking back at the world. And I'm like, he got us all talking about this. Even people that were hating on him. I mean, he got the whole world. I wouldn't be surprised if he was trending on Twitter. I almost said twending on Twitter, because he did that shit. So when you're in a 3-star restaurant, right, that intensity is brought about by the staff, right? Otherwise, the place is just fucking a building with a stove, okay? And that's what I was grateful about when the restaurant did burn down. Not grateful about the restaurant burning down, right? But that no one died in that bitch. It just burned down by itself. And I was just like, it was just a building. And the people inside is what make the soul of a building. Otherwise, it's just some fucking plaster and some wood and some paint. You know what I mean? Home is where the heart is, right? Home is you, right? And if you build a nest, that will be your home. But it's just a physical house. You don't take it with you. Unfortunately, you just die all by yourself. I don't mean to take it there, okay? But anyway, Tyler Harper, he came in. I think he was in marketing for a couple years before then. So it was his first foray into this kind of professional kitchen. And, man, I fucking lived that life, man. I was about it. I was about fucking being crazy. And not in a negative way. It was all in a constructive, uplifting kind of way. And is there ever any things that boil over in kitchens? Of course. And there's been articles about Rene for over, 15, I guess not 15, maybe 10 years now, about how it was hard. And they got all these stagiaires. They got about 30 stages unpaid, right? But what they don't talk about is that they feed and house them. They feed and house these people. Also, it's voluntary. Yeah, see, here we go, Chef Mo. Let's be honest, Chef. We're all fans of NOMA, and in one way or another, but closing because fine dining is not sustainable is a marketing move, and we know it. Both facts. Everyone loves NOMA, but in the way that they did this and the way that the article was delivered, it's all a marketing thing, and that's why fine dining has also kind of lost its soul a little bit, because you got those moves. Oh, 11 Madison Park, we're going to do vegetarian food. Oh, we're going to go vegan for a year. It's like, yeah, it's played out, bro. Let's go. Move on. Nick Gambino, what up? It's late over there, bro. It's like midnight. You just getting out of work? He works at St. Germain. Shout out to St. Germain. Shout out to the boys down there. Killing it in New Orleans. Jeff Davis is in New Orleans right now. Shout out to Jeff Davis in New Orleans. Just came back from Palm Springs from personal chefing. And shit's crazy, man. All day today was just looking at people posting about this Rene thing, and you know what? Tomorrow it'll be over, and we'll be talking about something else. Speaking about something else, I did a podcast with Elijah Kelly Attard on Google Meet, actually, but I recorded it. So that's out after this podcast. This is about an hour long every Monday at 10 p.m. All right, check me out. It was the first virtual podcast that I've ever done. Okay, so it's the first time that I wasn't in the room with the person that I was interviewing. It's kind of weird. You know, I think the weirdest part about it is that the timing is off. Sometimes I felt like I said something and cut him off, you know, or he wasn't done saying what he was saying, and I guess that goes hand in hand with cutting him off, right? So anyways, virtual podcasts, not for me, but will do them, right? Just because I want to give you guys as much as possible. Okay, that's what we're here for. And then also, while you're here, Nick, I got an answer for your question. Are there any magazines or other media cooks should be reading to stay up to date? I would say, you know, to stay up to date. It's hard to say. For me, Eater keeps, hey, they keep you updated on what the fuck's going on with the drama and the restaurants, right? They got both covered. I wrote New York Times, but this was before this thing today. So I don't know. I got to, you know, bring them into question, which also makes me question the Chronicle, because they be pulling some shit like that too, you know? You got to pay to play for these places. So, you know, certain restaurants will get recognition, especially in the Chronicle and the New York Times. But a place like Eater will actually, they're a little diverse in their coverage. So I like them. I would say the Nick Muncie has a magazine. If anybody knows Nick Muncie's magazine, please shout it out. Check my thing here. Oh, okay, we're back. Okay, so those are the magazines that I would read. I used to read Lucky Peach a little bit, not much. Art Culinaire is also very underrated. Shout out to Chef Rojas in Rhode Island. He's got a big collection of them. So it's from, you know, the volume 1 to volume however many they have now. I'm not sure. So those are the media outlets that I would, you know, go to. Generally, I go to Eater. If I'm going out to eat, I won't ever go to Yelp and TripAdvisor. But I'm finding now that Talk and Rezi actually have a lot of Toothache magazine. That's the name of it. That's the name of Nick Muncie's magazine, who I think might be the best pastry chef in the U.S. Nick Muncie of Toothache magazine. You can tell that motherfucker I said that. You can tell everyone I said that. All right? I don't give a fuck. Nick Muncie magazine. That's what I had written down. But thank you for Toothache. What excites me in food right now? Well, I tell you what. It's these. Sometimes we think we have it all figured out and we've seen everything, but I don't think that. I think that we're taking that for granted, right? Because I'm 33. Other people cooking that know what's up. You're like 25 when you start to figure it out. Like that, if you start from your 20s or early 20s, 25, you figure that shit out. And then I'm just excited to see what people come up with that have had a different education than me, right? Growing up in a different time, they've had a whole motherfucking pandemic to live through. Like, what is the food gonna be of a chef that spent 3 years doing online school as a child? I want to taste that dude's food, that chick's food, whoever it is. But as we all know, chefs are fucking weird. And I am excited. This is what excites me in food right now. I'm excited for the next generation of fucking sickos to come out here and start cooking their food. And what does food look like 50 years from now? What does it look like? You know, they got not farmed salmon. They got that salmon from the lab, right? The laboratory salmon. They're probably going to start cloning cuts of meat soon. They probably already are testing that shit, bringing that shit to restaurants. You got restaurants trying this lab-grown salmon. Shout out to Dalton. He's slanging that. I'm forgetting the name of his company now. But is it all going to be lab-grown? Are we going to have to... There's grass-fed salmon. I'm talking about flavor country. I'm talking about salmon grown in the tanks that wine is fermented in. Like, they're growing the loin, the piece of meat, out of fucking cells that they got from one salmon. One salmon. And they grow the meat. They don't have to feed anything. They are not growing live. Shout out to Beans. They're not growing live fish that you then have to feed. So is that where we're going in the future with chicken, beef? I don't know if you see what's going on right now, but everybody's making fried chicken sandwiches. See? Chef Dave Witt, that episode was dope. Dude said he could grow 8-ounce salmon portions from salmon cells. It's damn right. Lab-grown salmon. What's up, dude? Are we going to have lab-grown beef? Imagine the consistency, though. Every time you get ribeyes are always different depending on what butcher cut them. They're always off by a couple of ounces. Imagine growing the perfect 16-ounce ribeye with the same marbling every time, same flavor every time. That's what the kitchen table is going to look like in 2050. You know what I mean? When we cannot catch fish anymore because we killed them all. When animals that we know today will probably be extinct, some of them, the way we're rolling. You know? Like, what's going to happen when shit becomes extinct? Also, I don't know about you guys. I hope there's no old people in the room. There's probably not because they don't fucking listen to this show. But we're in the age that we're about to see lab-grown finesse chefs. I like that. Lab-grown chefs. Maybe that will stop all the infighting, you know? Kitchen table looking like that in 2050. Just clones of shit. Nothing will have nutrition. We'll have smaller bodies. We're growing into fucking aliens. I'm going to put the fucking tin hat on right now, but you know what I mean? What's next? So that's what excites me in food. The fucking weirdos that are going to come out. Who's going to be the best chef in 2050? That's what I want to fucking know. And the thing that I was saying before is we're at an age right now where, like, you might turn on your computer and it might say Robert De Niro died. You know what I mean? You might open your fucking computer and it might say some other old actor. I don't want to keep naming names. I don't want to put that into the future or into the world. We all know it's going to happen in the future. But I'm just saying, now is that time where the greatest actors of our time are going to start croaking, right, as life moves on. So that's a crazy time to live in. We're living the future. Something that I thought about was the Green Star from Michelin, right? The Green Star from Michelin, you got a place like Silo that's zero waste. I don't know how they're doing that. I believe them when they tell me that there's zero waste. If anybody knows anybody that works at Silo, maybe you can let me know, what they're doing over there. Regardless, Silo, Amas just closed. What a fucking shame, right? Because doing it the right way is not sustainable. Chef Dave Witt with it again from, we're talking about Silo. He said they use recycled dishwater to water their plants. That's what I'm saying. So this kind of place has thought about it down to washing the dishes. It's kind of cool. So that's what Silo's doing. Mise, Mad Orlando, they just closed. I was just talking to, what's his name? Sean. I'm sorry, not Sean. What the fuck am I saying? Elijah Kelly Attard. I was talking to him last night. That podcast will be out right after this. He's Roots Hospitality Podcast. Amos was legit. See that? Chef Mo, what up? Never been there, but that place was doing that zero waste, thought process. I don't think they ever won a green Michelin star. I don't know either. So, what do we got here? There is no specific formula for awarding a Michelin green star, as every restaurant in its surrounding regions has a unique set of conditions. The inspectors are simply looking for those at the top. Aha. So they're just marking who's at the top. Okay, got you. Because a place like Harbor House Inn, I don't think you can compare that to the French Laundry. 8 out of Mas last year, it was phenomenal. And then Beans is saying that's Michelin's own thing. You're damn right, the Green Star is Michelin's own thing. But Harbor House Inn, I thought, has more of a sustainable way of doing things, right? They only have one cow a year. They can't order shit from produce companies. I guarantee you that at least 3 times a week, the French Laundry gets an order from Greenleaf or Cooks. That's a produce company. Produce company makes it easy for you to create menus because everything is at your disposal. But places like Harbor House where you got to forage for shit, and if you don't fucking find it, then it's not on your menu, and then you have to charge the same price. I'm just giving hypotheticals here as to what I think my life would be like if I was the chef of Harbor House. If I was him, if I was Matty Cam, that would be what I would be freaking out about. I'd be like, shit, man, I know you came all this way to Elk, California to stay at this inn, but we went and foraged and we couldn't find no food, man. That's why he's always preserving and shit like that. I'm not saying that that's ever happened. So don't be talking shit out here. All right. But definitely, yeah, Matt Orlando was doing it right. Matt Cam is doing it right now at Harbor House. I did a podcast with him. I think he was like the 3rd guest ever on Sucio Talk. But yeah. Atelier Cran, I hear they use jars instead of plastic. Chef Dave Witt, was the difference in TFL and Tram is that Tram got all their produce from their garden. The restaurant at Meadowood, that is Tram, we also used produce company. When you are serving 80 guests a night and things need to be perfect, it's hard to, grow everything you need. So what I'm talking about, what we used to use from the produce company is shit that you cannot spend time growing, like onions, carrots, celery. Like this is simple mirepoix shit. Like if any restaurant tries to grow that and then be a sustainable restaurant, like you will go under straight up trying to grow onions and carrots for the whole year. That shit is expensive as fuck. There's a reason why they're selling you these carrots by the pound. You know what I mean? There's a market for that shit. So at the restaurant at Meadowood, what we would utilize the garden for is the specialty things that make the dishes special, right? So oyster leaf, mustard flowers, fucking all that little boutique shit. There was also radishes, right, and things like that. Carrots for the nuka veg, little baby carrots, and it's kind of a crazy way of growing vegetables because all year long they're producing high quality things. I don't know the name of it, but basically they're planting just dug potatoes. You fucking right. Um, we used to have this dish at the restaurant at Meadowood that was it was a potato on the vine, on the plant, right? So they grew these perfect potatoes that were the perfect size in little pots. And then what I would have to do is boil them in a pot, right? In a salted water pot. But you couldn't just put it over the pan or else the leaves would wilt. So you had to like stand at the edge of the range. And so half the pot of water is like boiling hard and then the other one is like on the piano, right? So it's not boiling that hard. And you're basically sitting there with tweezers dipping these just dug potatoes in there. And I tell you what, cooking them was, yeah, mad respect to Charlie Apple for doing some sick ass shit at the restaurant at Meadowood. Shout out to him. He did some sick ass shit. I mean, he was candying shit in rock sugar, um, and that led to basically less of a sugar content or a sugar taste. So his shit just tasted really pure, even though he was like, preserving peaches and syrup and things like that. Like his stuff always tasted really fucking good. And what was cool was we were making our own garums, and he ended up roasting his garum at like maybe 5 degrees higher than Noma did their garum, same recipe, and it became a little bit um like caramelized. It was like caramelized garum. So it was whatever fucking Noma was making, but it was toasted at a higher temperature. And that was just because we had this one proofer and you had to keep it at a certain temperature because the ladies that were baking at Meadowood, we used to share a kitchen with them. They would need that proofer all day, right? So you don't need to be an asshole with your fucking little ferments, right? And Charlie wasn't. He'd just be like, all right, cool. Crank that bitch up to 90, proof some shit, just turn it back to 70, when when you leave, right? So shout out to him for doing all those ferments. That was, I think, the saddest thing when that place burned down. That all that shit that he made. The Hill House stuff was still intact, but a lot of the stuff was in the restaurant. They had gotten a freeze dryer. Probably with the idea of making like a garden trail mix where you can freeze dry everything from the garden, and then like it comes in a little fucking chip bag, and that's the kind of food that we were doing at Meadowood. It was very artsy. I spent a lot of time in the middle of the night doing arts and crafts. Like I had these fucking chip bags, right? And they were just like these little brown bags, but you had to like poke these holes in them perfectly and like make sure that a bow could tie into them, and then you had to stamp them and shit. And I'm just not good at that shit, you know. I had a girlfriend at the time who I'd make do it, but and then you had to do the kale chips. All right, so let me explain these fucking kale chips because these things were crazy. Okay, so first you get a hot pan. You get about a pint of kale. Actually, no, it's a bigger amount of kale. Um, I don't remember the amounts, but anyways, kale, roast it quickly, water, steam out, right? Um, the ancient Romans used to do a high temp fermentation on garum. Shout out to you, Beans, for that tidbit of information. So basically, what you're saying is Charlie Apple is an ancient Roman. Did I say ancient Egyptian the first time I read that? I'm tripping. Um, fucking what the fuck, man? I'm losing my train of thought here. Keep reading the shit that's in front of me. I should stop. I need to stop reading the IG live. Although it's fun talking to you guys, and you guys are kind of keeping the conversation going here because I lost you at new techniques of the new generation of chefs. Um, Jesus. All right, talk about Charlie. Talk about Garums. We already passed all this shit. So the Harbor House Inn. Adam Lewiller joined. Wow, how sad. I just lost that whole train of thought, guys. Someone help me. You guys were here with me. You got 12 people in here. No one fucking knows. Help me out. That's why I don't do the live so often, because then I can't edit this kind of shit out. But that's okay, because we're going to continue. We're going to plow on here. I'm going to make my mistakes. Just like in a kitchen. Oh, okay. Play a little background music on your podcast, soul or some shit. Okay. Next time. You got it. Cause right now I'm all set up, and if kale chips, there you go. Kale chips at the restaurant in Meadowood. So, anyways, kale, hot pan, wilt, water, right? Then you bring them over. And 24 hours before that, you take tapioca pearls, you soak them in a whole bag, you sort them in a quart of water, you put them in a cryovac bag, and you cook them for basically as long as you can. It's about 12-hour cook, but all you're doing is cooking the shit out of the tapioca, so it's like gelatin basically. And then you quickly blend the kale in a fucking VitaPrep. Then you take that out into a Roboku, put the fucking mixture into it, that gelatinized mixture of cooked tapioca, and then you had to fucking swirl that shit, and then you had to salt. It was a first bite canapé. BV Magazine, what's up? So the kale chip was served on a book. Okay, I'll get to that in a minute. But anyways, you have this mixture going in your Roboku, and then you spread it thin on a silpat, and then you dry it overnight over the range that was going, usually with stocks and shit. We didn't dry it in the rationale because if you dried it too quickly, it become too brittle. So it had to dry on its own, which was you freaking the fuck out, hoping that your shit dries, right? Hoping that you have the mise en place that you need to fucking make it through. Regardless, fucking take the kale chips, spread them thin, they dry over the range, and then the next day you have to crinkle them into shapes basically of what they're going to be. And with tweezers, you're holding on to this shape that is basically plastic at this point. It's just like dry. You can't really eat it like that. And when you put it in the fucking in the oil, about 400 degrees or 375, it puffs up, and it gets these beautiful little tapioca pearl looking, kind of like when you get cold in your skin. The fuck is that word? It looks like that texture, right? Goose pimples. Is that that's the dirty way of saying them. Goosebumps, right? Goose pimples. So these kale chips were served on books, and these were old books that they were open, right? So the servers would carry the fucking open book. And this book, you'd take home every night, and you'd take 2 pieces of wax paper, and you had to measure them out to be the same size as the page. And then you would take 3 baby kale leaves. I'm talking tiny little fucking baby kale leaves. And you would write with a Sharpie, Meadowood Garden, and the date. So you had to do it every day. You had to write the date. And then you put the 2 pieces of wax paper together, and you ironed the small baby kale leaves onto the wax paper. And then you basically came in the next day with all of them and cut them to the size of the page. And then you would clip them onto the page and serve the kale chips on that with a chorizo puree made with the same way I cooked that kale. So kale, hot pan, oil, boom, down, water, fucking steam that shit real quick, salt, season it, put it in a VitaPrep, and we had these kits of toasted spices that made it taste like chorizo. But it was all vegan. It was all a vegan canapé, and it was served on a book. And then you had chili threads. So you had these guajillo chilies from the garden that were preserved in oil. So you had to take them out of the oil. You had to drain them, and then you had to cut little like perfect julienne, little like hair looking julienne onto them. And that fucking dish made me so stressed out. Like I had to keep up with that shit for 3 days, and basically you didn't have a weekend because the whole time what you'd be doing is freaking out that you don't have enough kale chips. And did I run out of fucking kale chips? Yeah, on a couple occasions I ran out of fucking kale chips. And, I'm surprised I'm still here today talking to you guys about this. I know the mise is it's fucking rough though when you have these dishes that if you're not on top of it, we used to fucking come in after the sous chefs left. The sous chefs would stay behind. We would clock out. Everybody would fucking leave after our meeting at night. And what you do is go to your car, wait it out, and then go back in and check out the. I'm gonna take a drink here. And check out the and just check out that they left and then fucking go back in there and prep shit for like another fucking 3 hours. So, I remember one time I left work. Okay. I leave work and I'm 30 minutes away in Napa. Meadowood is about 30 minutes away from my house. It's in St. Helena. Okay. I fucking go from Napa to St. Helena. And I'm home. I'm like doing my shit. I did my fucking kale papers or whatever the fuck. And it's like fucking 3 a.m. I iron my chef coat. I do it all at night so I don't have to wake up super early in the morning and do it. I was a night prep guy. Write my prep list, iron my chef coat, clean my shoes, do any laundry if I needed to, right? You get into bed at like 3, 4 a.m, and then you can, usually call time be like 1. So you sleep till like 11:30 or 12 basically. And you just did that shit 6 days a week. We were going hard. So I'm home. I did all that shit. I'm about to lay in bed. I forget that my fucking tray, my tool tray is disgusting. I didn't clean it. I forgot. I basically shoved everything in there because I was busy and it was a mess. And so I was freaked the fuck out because the sous chefs go through your station in the morning. Like they go through your station at night, but again in the morning, just a little bit more in depth, and then they catch you in the morning with shit like, hey, what's this? What's this? What's this kind of shit? They're just doing their jobs. You know what I mean? And fucking, it's like, I go back in there. It's 3:30 in the morning when I figure this out. So it's 4 a.m. when I reach Meadowood again. And I'm in the parking lot, and then I see this car of one of the cooks that used to work there. Or, that used to work with me there. So I'm like, what the fuck? And I go inside, and I'm like, there he is, Richie Wang. Rich Wang was who later became chef's assistant. Kind of fucking crazy in a turn of events. But he was cutting duck fudge. This thing, duck fudge we would make, is fucking delicious. It's duck jus, beeswax, and duck fat. And you would basically, the beeswax sucks to work with, but you have to get it super hot, everything super hot, and then you have to blend it and immediately go into a quarter tray with acetate and with spray on it. And like, say you forgot that, man, you were fucked, because then the beeswax sets almost immediately in the blender. And just imagine everyone's trying to use the blender and you fucking did some beeswax shit in there and it's not coming out, and people are fucking pissed at you because they can't make their purees or whatever, that kind of like when you first got into Meadowood, it was one of those places where they didn't let you just come in early. Because if you come in early, you're kind of slow, kind of go about it slow, right? They wanted you to be super focused and go quickly and make everything correctly. It was like, the push was important. So they make call time 1:00 and you fucking roll in there and you're just running. Just run in, take your fucking coat off. You're getting your fucking station set up. But before you get your station set up, everyone runs to the pots and pans because there's only so many. And there's things that you have to do right away. And if you don't get the pan that you need to do that shit right away, you are fucked. So already you're starting the day on a bad note. And then it got to the point where we started hoarding our shit at night. we would set up our entire station and walk in with it set up, you know, because we were so behind on shit because we just didn't have enough time. Because chef would be like, all right, we got 80 covers tomorrow. Coming at 3. You know, we're like, nah, like let us come in earlier than that. Nope. So pretty cool shit that was going down at Meadowood. I don't know how this. Well, we were talking about NOMA and Rene Redzepi and the shit that happened with that. So then we're here at Meadowood. I saw the ruins after it burned down. I actually hopped in and I took something. I took it was like a cast iron or some shit that was still kind of intact. It was a chinois, a fucking just roasted chinois, but it still had the same shape, you know. Front of the house was the same thing. Flavor Country is hitting me with front of the house was kind of the same thing. I would say that at Meadowood, the thing that fascinated me the most was the way that David Kulik is this man's name, by the way. Flavor Country. He makes a wine called Brian David. That's delicious, and I want him to work on Sucio wine. So Sucio wine, please, Flavor Country, let's do it for the people. They want to have me on their label on their dinner table while they're feeding their kids. All right, we could be a household name out here, dog. Sucio wine. It'll be like Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg did it. So anytime something's happened to me in my life, there's always seems to be a rapper that has gone through the same thing, right? So I always have somebody be like, well, he did it. You know, one time I chipped my tooth. And I was like, damn. And Charlie was the first one that noticed. He was like, Dave, did you chip your tooth? I think I came back from the dentist. And so there we are, fucking Charlie, telling me that I chipped my tooth. And I'm like, fuck, I chipped my tooth. I can't believe that. And then I'm like, you know what? Fabulous did it. Nas did it. Does Nas have a chipped tooth? I'm not sure, but Fabulous definitely did it. All right. Sucio strain. That's the next thing we need. We need Sucio wine, Sucio weed. By the way, get your Sucio shirts, your Sucio fucking pants, your Sucio tank tops. Support the show. You know, help me out here. Help me trying to make this thing big. Go on YouTube, subscribe. That helps a lot. That helped me. And thank you for tuning in. You know, Monday night out here. David Sucio. We've been doing this shit for like 52 minutes. So the last time the show was about an hour long. But this is good, man. You know, I'm not gonna stop. We'll see where we're at 11. We'll see how we feel. Did you guys know that Thomas Keller lost his golf clubs? So this man, Sucio wine, baby, that's what we're working on. This man, Thomas Keller, straight up put out a list, like made on InShot or Adobe, like with him golfing and a fucking list of what he lost. And not even like in the fucking in the section where you write shit, just like a post of him golfing with some shit missing, right? From Palm Desert, which I was just in Palm Desert. And exactly, who the fuck cares that he lost his golf clubs? Like, this man is literally going on fucking, do you think that you're going to see your golf clubs anymore? Did he find them? He found them. Okay, got you. So, okay, Thomas Keller found his golf clubs. Why didn't he just call FedEx first? He went on Instagram. How many followers does Uncle Tom have? Maybe I shouldn't call him that. Chef Thomas Keller. 654,000. 664,000. It's true, rich man shit. Like, I'm sorry, he misplaces golf clubs. Like, but at the end of the day, go buy another fucking. I guess they're sentimental to him. You know, I don't understand golf, So I'm not the person that's going to feel any kind of way about Uncle Tommy. If I call him Uncle Tommy, it sounds better. I just said Uncle Tom. Now I'm like, I can't call him. I can't call him Uncle Tom. I can't do that. Uncle Tommy. 654,000 followers. And he's straight up, dog. He lost his golf clubs. And I guess he found them. Yeah, I just saw his story. He found them thanks to the support. They found him in Mar-a-Lago. So he basically misplaced his fucking... Maybe he's losing it. Maybe he's getting... what's that called? Alzheimer's? I think I'm fucking having early Alzheimer's over here. Like a line cook losing his chef knives on an Uber. You're fucking right, man. It's hard out here being a chef, being a cook. You gotta like fucking take your shit with you all the time. Like take your knives, take your fucking... It's like, you know, when you work in an office, you don't take your computer with you. If it's a laptop. You're not taking a desktop with you, being like, yeah. Depends. What do you guys think? There's restaurants that allow you to keep your knives in the kitchen. And then there's other restaurants that make you take them. And that's kind of like a craft thing where people are like, you have to take your knives with you because those are your tools. But then I'm like, my tool is also my brain, and my brain is telling me that leaving them here is easier. I'm not sure. How old is Thomas Keller? I'll tell you what, me and Thomas Keller have the same birthday, October 14th. So write that down, send me and him a gift. All right. Camilo Velasco talking about, he wants to know about NOMA closing. We did talk about that, but basically to reiterate, Rene Redzepi basically played the game and won in a time where you could win. Did he make the rules? Did he invent Michelin stars? No, he didn't. But he employed one of the first mass stagiaire systems of all time. It worked for him. Am I saying it's right? No. But when I was coming up, we used to think that Marco Pierre White was the shit, right? And he was probably even worse than Homeboy. But Elizabeth Harris, stop with your high sexy. Get out of here. She used to work events with me at Charter Oak. Apparently I'm sexy, so thank you, Elizabeth Harris. Appreciate that. One time, Elizabeth Harris was in the office, and she was like, hey, I don't think we have no windows in the office. So what I did was I printed out a picture of like a scenery, and then I put it on the wall, and I was like, there you go. You have a window now. Fucking solutions over here. That's what I think about, you know? But Rene Redzepi, here we go. So, and I've already talked about this, so sorry about that. No, I'm not taking off the glasses. It's fucking shiny in here. It's a studio. Relax. Hey, Andres, relax, bro. Late night Sucio Talk. Relax, Andres. We're not doing that here. It's a family show, okay? Chef Thomas Keller, 654,000 followers. This dude left his golf clubs today. We're on to NOMA now. I've already talked about NOMA, but here we go. I already said that thing about Rene Redzepi. I thought that the New York Times was the biggest loser in all this because of the way that they marketed that and the way that they used it. But he finessed the game one more time. He Elon Musked everybody today. We all looked at it. We all talked about it. I'm talking about it right now. I'm talking about it twice within an hour. It's the first thing I talked about on the podcast, and now I'm talking about it again. Peace from Southern California, for sure. Why did the CDC for Meadowood leave before it opened? Are you talking about Jacqueline? Because if you are, that is false information. The restaurant that opened at Meadowood is not the restaurant at Meadowood as it used to be. It is a restaurant that is on a tennis court. That is the Meadowood like restaurant at the resort, right? So She did not leave before it opened. I'm not sure what happened there with her leaving and why she left, but I'm sure it's just, the restaurant doesn't exist. And how many years did she work for chef? It's time to go. Like, you can't. The Forum is the name of the Meadowood restaurant that that they open on the tennis court there. Is it a good restaurant? I don't know. Probably not. But the restaurant at Meadowood, as we know it, has been gone since the fire. Jacqueline, I know she just did a thing at Catbird Seat. She just did a tasting with the chef over there. I went to eat there during the road trip and did a podcast with the chef, Baxter. Baxter's the man. Jacqueline Dasha is one of the most badass chefs out there right now. Jacqueline Dasha, the ex CDC of Meadowood. So Jacqueline, I'll talk about Jacqueline a little more, but that interests me a little bit, Chef Dave Wick. Did I work with the new general manager of the Charter Oak? It's a woman, correct? Correct me if I'm wrong. You could put her name in the comment section over here, and we'll talk about it. But what are we talking about here? Jacqueline Dasha. I mean, she way better creative person than me. Way better. And just the way she thought about food, the way she moved, she was always, I was on veg and she was on fish station, and we were right next to each other for a long time, right till the end that I left Meadowood to go to Charter Oak. And that's a story that I'll touch on because at the time, I tore Bischoff. No. Oh, I just saw that. I saw that. Thank you for reminding me. Itor is the new general manager of the Charter Oak. I have worked with Itor. Itor's the man, super suave dude, good. I mean, wine knowledge is crazy. This guy was trained at Meadowood and became one of the top dudes. I mean, he came in there, crushed it in an environment where it was hard to crush it. And we were talking about the front of the house at the restaurant in Meadowood with Brian Kulik, right? Flavor Country. One of the strictest, Nathaniel Dorn. I mean, say whatever the fuck you want about that dude, but that motherfucker ran a tight front of the house. Those motherfuckers didn't talk to you. Like, they weren't allowed to talk to you. They weren't allowed to fucking, they went in there and they did their fucking job and didn't fucking interrupt the kitchen whatsoever. Always super grateful for fucking family meal. I mean, some of the best front of the house people I've ever worked with has been at Meadowood. And that was the first thing that sort of attracted me to that restaurant. So I'm grateful that I spent the time there. I'm grateful that I got to know all the people there. And that's the thing that I was touching on with Jacqueline. I think at the time, I just thought that I was going to be CDC of the restaurant because in my eyes, I thought that was the next thing for me. And, when Costello told me, like, no, it's not happening. Like, I know he already saw that Dasha was the one. And, she was definitely the one to usher in the next phase of that. Would I have liked to stay around so I could maybe coach her a little bit more and just be there for her support? Because what happens is when you become a chef, no one's your fucking friend anymore. You're everyone's enemy. You're the fucking the judge, jury, and executioner, right? For everyone. Responsible for everyone's well-being, responsible for fixing fucking everything. Unless it has to do with, fucking the other departments. But in the kitchen, like, to your cooks, you're their everything. You got to be there for them. And it's it was that family mentality at Meadowood. It really was. And Itor was one of those people. Um, and when I went to Charter Oak, it was that same 3-star attitude. Like it had a chip on its shoulder. Charter Oak was, just like a fucking uh coming into itself, right? It's 5-year anniversary they just had that I went to this past year. 5 years, and I did some cool shit there too, and it was just I had to accept that I was not that guy. And did I know in my heart that I could do it? Fuck yeah. But also, did I know that I was comfortable? Did I know that I was kind of like not moving as quickly as I could have at the end of my time there? Yeah. Was I like, I lost like the because once you're like expediting fucking sous chef and whatever, like you're not, unless you're creating shit, you're unless you're not helping with prep, you're creating shit. And that, at the end of the day, I just wasn't that talented at creating like exceptional food in that manner for a place like Meadowood. Um, but did I get some shit on the menu? Yeah, a couple times, here and there. And Dasha did fucking a lot of the things we did as a group. We would sit outside of the rotunda and we would, give our ideas, and then from those ideas stemmed other things. But what really set us apart was the pantry that Charlie afforded us. He took over for Cameron Cole Rates, who was the first forager person there, and he took over from that. And when I went to Meadowood to work, Charlie was in Washington D.C. and he was living in Virginia. I mean, he was at home, and I came to the restaurant and I saw that fucking garden, and I called Charlie immediately. I called him fucking immediately, and I was like, "Yo, you got to come work at this place, at the restaurant in Meadowood." And he's like, What do you mean? And I was like, "Yo, you got to come work at this garden." So I got him a job at the garden, and Charlie was the gardener for like 3 years. So when he became um, the fermentation guy, he already knew so much about growing things so well that preserving was just another fucking layer of armor, and to this day, he is one of the best cooks, best people I know. Um, Truly just a fucking honest, hardworking human being. Just fucking love that dude to death. We're actually thinking about going to the Johnny Sparrow Snail Bar pop up. Johnny Sparrow Snail Bar pop up. Check that shit out. I'm unsure of the dates, but you can go on their Instagram. Go on Johnny's Instagram. I'm sure they've promoted it on there. Johnny Sparrow is a fucking awesome dude. I did a podcast with him in DC. Nicest guy ever. He just went through a tragic fire at the restaurant, but historically, restaurants after fires, except for Meadowood, they come they come out of it on top. There's a documentary. I'm not sure what it's called, but Alinia's in it. Alinea, fucking, and this other pizza place that burns down 3 times, and the fucking town builds it again. How fucking all 3 fucking times. Crazy ass documentary. And then your boy Grant Achatz is in that shit. And I remember thinking when he was like, "Yo, I got mouth cancer," I was like, I will never be that good that you could be, that good with mouth cancer. I didn't ever think that I'd be that good, man, as a chef. I'm like, I will never, like, some people are just meant to be so great in their field. And I'm not saying that I won't be that, because I know I can do it and I know I will do it at some point. I'm not pressuring myself in that aspect, or trying to just be nicer to myself about not caring about accolades and shit, man. Because at the beginning, Michelin was all I gave a fuck about. Michelin was all I cared about. I just wanted to be in an intense ass kitchen all the time, right? And then I did it for 6 years, and then I went and was the chef of the sister restaurant for 2 years at the Charter Oak. And that was a weekend. That was Saturday service, Saturday night deep clean, which also they let me play Cannibal Corpse all service. They let me play Cannibal Corpse all day long. Shout out to Chef Costow for that, because there is no other fucking 3-star kitchen in this world. I don't know. Maybe in Switzerland or something. They listen to that Nordic shit. But I played Cannibal Corpse all fucking day long. And that's not easy music to listen to. So shout out to all the people out there that, just have to listen to me say the same shit. In the future for this show, I would like all of you who are on the IG to call the show, okay? Doesn't have to be right now, because tell you the truth, I can't even answer the fucking phone because I'm doing the live on Instagram. But what I'm going to do is maybe get another device to where I'll have it here, and I'll be on IG Live, Facebook, YouTube, and everything all at the same time. So yeah, I'm excited for where the podcast is going. I'm excited for that pop-up that's happening with Johnny Sparrow and Snail Bar. It's going to be fucking delicious food. And the cool thing is that they worked at Mugaritz together, 10 years ago, and they respect each other, and they're just going to make some fucking cool shit. So I hope that I can go to that. Charlie just hit me up and he was like, yo, let's fucking go to that. I definitely want to go to that. Good news for you guys, Sucio Talk. I got an interview with We Are Slow Burn tomorrow. I'm interviewing them tomorrow at 4 p.m. Andy Dubrava and Tiffany coming in, talking about Slow Burn, talking about his departure at Rustic Canyon, talking about her restaurant career and life. I didn't get to interview her, but I did interview Andy. So that's tomorrow at 4. And then Adalia Cole, Hungry Hooker on Instagram. Check her out. She's going to be on the show, and I think these two will drop on Monday. So we'll just keep everything concentrated on Monday. That way you guys can have Sucio Talk on Tuesday morning when you wake up after you've already watched this live. You just consume the content over and over and over because you just can't stop. So there it is. SucioTalk.com for merch. That's 510-463-1145 is the number. SucioTalk.com is the website. chef@SucioTalk.com is the email. Send funny stories. I'll be sure to share them on the show. It's a good time hanging out. Fucking, I know Chef Dave Witt has to go to bed now. So I'm going to sign off. This has been the second episode of Sucio Talk. We are going to keep doing this every Monday at 10 p.m. Tell your chef friends. Tell your fucking mom and dad. Tell your kids. Actually, don't bring your kids. This ain't a fucking kids show. But let's have some fun. Call in, have some conversation about what the fuck's going on today. We covered Rene Redzepi at nauseum. Is that what they say? At nauseous. I'm nauseous about talking about Rene Redzepi. We talked about fucking the restaurant on Meadowood quite a bit. I was gonna do a whole episode about that from start to finish, but seeing as we got some stories today, I'll just let them come out organically. But tune in next week. Will be fun. We'll be here chilling. I appreciate you guys. Peace out. Everyone stay safe out there. Shit's crazy. Sucio is thinking about you. All right, cool. Call me next week. It is set up. I just can't be on IG Live at the same time. So I'm trying to figure out another iPad or some shit that I could do. I'm not sure. All right, we'll figure it out, though. All right, peace out, guys. Good night.